Now, let's have the four candidates introduce themselves. Um, I guess starting with David Trapaz.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to talk here tonight. And just a little bit about myself. I have three kids in the district, Winthrop, Middle, and High. And unlike probably a lot of folks, I come at this from a little different angle. I work in the corporate world. And for the last 20 years, my role has always been to connect the dots between the vision and goals we have, the plan about how we get there, and then making sure that we have the underpin resources, budget, and the follow through to make it happen. And as I thought about kind of how I personally could give back to the community, I was motivated to run for the school committee because I have a fundamental belief that education is what brings people together, and it has the power to transform lives. And as I thought about my skills and some of the challenges we face in Melrose, I felt that this was the time for me to lean in and to bring that forward. And so as I think about the next 4 years and things that I hope that I can accomplish, a few points. I think one is I think we have a great opportunity to just bring forward information, both in forums like this, but also more broadly in the community, with just being very clear on our goals and our measurements, making sure that things like our budget are understood by others, because ultimately what we talk about here, some of it will take money, and we need to make sure that we have that budget understanding and the underpinned funding to make it happen. And then also just a broader communication as well. I'm really pleased about the superintendent's approach. I look forward to helping sustain that and strengthening that connection to our goals, and also outside of the broader community for those that may not be here tonight, but ultimately are impacted by the school districts. And in closing, I'll say one last thing, which is one of the current school committee members said to me, if I win, I'm going to be one of seven. And I've been there my whole career, and I'm actually okay with that, because ultimately, this isn't about any one of us. It's about us building that shared understanding and working together to move us forward and to sustain that momentum. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, David. Seamus.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight to participate in this important forum. I'm running for the Melrose School Committee because I believe that all students must have access to a free and fair education, and we must support our educators. My top three priorities are fixing our budget and promoting long-term planning, committing to engaging the Melrose community during the budget cycle by having public budget hearings at each school's PTO, and a virtual option for those who cannot attend in person. This would allow for a meaningful engagement between the school committee and the public about the future of our schools. And then the third goal was developing and updating our curriculum to meet the needs and backgrounds of our students. I have over 20 years of public sector management experience working on budgets, regulations, affordable housing, and affordable health insurance at the state level and the federal government. Locally, I'm active in our schools as a room parent and library volunteer at the Roosevelt School, and I'm an appointee to the Melrose Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and I previously sat on the Melrose Housing Production Plan Committee. I have a daughter at the Roosevelt School and another at the Franklin ECC School. I look forward to a meaningful discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Seamus. Matt.
Good evening, and thank you for everybody listening tonight, and thank you, Jay, for moderating us tonight, as well as the people who will tune in later. I really appreciate FBLN and the RJCC and the Friends of Melrose Metco putting this together and bringing us all together on these important issues. Introducing myself, I have two kids in the Melrose schools, a first and a third grader at the Roosevelt School. And I, as other candidates do, fundamentally believe in the power of public education and the importance of it as a community pillar. I think it is something that we need to make sure is adequately offered to every student in the district, and that is a fundamental belief that I think the school committee should be carrying out. My background, I have spent the last 10 years working in public policy in the Massachusetts Senate, particularly a lot of that time around education policy and education funding. I was there and actively part of the legislators that were working to pass the Student Opportunity Act, which dramatically changed how the state reimburses schools in local districts with additional funding for the needs that they have in those districts. In addition, I've spent the last 7 years volunteering my time as a member of the board of directors on the Community Action Agency of Somerville, where we run a Head Start program for about a little less than 200 low-income kids in Somerville. And my priorities in thinking about what I've heard from people in the community, as well as what I'm thinking about myself, as I look at the school committee, we have some very big decisions ahead of us around our budget. We know that there are serious gaps in the budget, particularly even in the current school year, that we have to immediately fill. And we need to develop long-term strategies on how to plot out where we're headed, particularly around budget, but in many other areas as well. I think one of those strategies we have to start addressing is our school buildings. We need to have a real conversation about the space, make sure that we have enough space for all of our students to learn successfully, as well as make sure our spaces are adequately maintained and upgraded to a modern quality.
That's time.
Thank you. I'll speak more later then. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Matt. Margaret, you're up next.
Thank you, Jay. And good evening, everyone. My name is Margaret Driscoll. I'm the current school committee chair, and I truly appreciate the invitation to this forum and for the work that your groups are doing. I know it's not easy. I am a white heterosexual woman of privilege, which comes with its own biases and often misunderstandings that I work to reflect on, adjust, and evolve. I've served on the Melrose School Committee for 16 years, with 6 times as the chair. And I've led every standing subcommittee as well as 2 superintendent search screening committees and served on countless other hiring and service committees in the district. Prior to that, I led an effort to move the Lincoln School Library from a reading room to a 21st century teaching and learning media center, and volunteered as the Lincoln Library coordinator for 9 years. Advocating with our team and with success to bring the first ever paid library and media specialist into the elementary schools. In addition to my own 3 children who are proud Melrose alums, I feel like each of our 3,700 students are my own. They each deserve equitable opportunities that lift them up, that make them lifelong learners and curious learners. We need to meet every student where they are, and we need to provide them voice and choice. Racism and bias do not belong in our schools and amongst our school family, and I have and will continue to work to eradicate them. And again, I thank you for this opportunity and look forward to our work together tonight.